Optimism and threats of violence. That's the latest message from Donald Trump on Iran's high-stakes nuclear talks. On his third day visiting the region, the U.S. president said the two countries were closer than ever to inking a new deal that would curb Iran's nuclear program while lifting sanctions Trump himself imposed during his first term in office. Trump says he's working closely with Qatar's government on negotiations with Iran, but warned that a military option was still on the table if Iran didn't stop sponsoring terrorism and proxy war.
Nuclear dust in Iran, and we've been strong. I want them to succeed. I want them to end up being a great country, frankly, but they can't have a nuclear weapon. That's the only thing. I think we're getting close to maybe doing a deal without having to do this. There's two steps. There's a very, very nice step, and there's a violent step. The violence like people haven't seen before. And I hope we're not going to have to do this. I don't want to do the second step.
Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian hit back at Trump's comments, saying the country will not, quote, bow down to any bully.
And while high hopes hung on new developments from Trump towards a ceasefire in Gaza, the US president instead re-emphasized his desire to take control of the Strip himself, saying he wants to turn it into a freedom zone. Despite successfully pushing for a ceasefire back in January, the Trump administration has since backed down, allowing Israel to resume its daily bombing campaign, as well as a crippling 2-month blockade of food, water, and medicine. The United Nations says more than 2 million Palestinians are at risk of famine, with many resorting to desperate measures to feed themselves and their families in what experts describe as catastrophic levels of food insecurity. This comes as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel's army will enter Gaza with full force in the coming days, saying there will be no situation where we stop the war.
And Volodymyr Zelensky has hit out at Russia, accusing the Kremlin of sending stand-in props instead of Vladimir Putin at peace talks which began in Turkey today. The Ukrainian president responded to a last-minute confirmation from Moscow this morning that Putin will not in fact be attending, despite insisting Russia was ready for serious talks. Zelensky confirmed he will not be attending peace talks in Ankara either, instead opting to send his defense minister after Putin's snub. The news dashed hopes of a groundbreaking three-way meeting between Putin, Zelensky, and US President Donald Trump, whose bid to rapidly pressure both sides into a diplomatic agreement has been repeatedly thwarted. Trump earlier hinted at diverting from his Gulf tour to join talks in Istanbul, but is not expected to attend in Putin's absence and has so far refrained from commenting on the Russian president's absence.
I was thinking about going, but it's very tough because of what we're doing today and tomorrow. But, if something happened, I'd go on Friday if it was appropriate. But we have people right now negotiating, and I think that I just hope that Russia and Ukraine are able to do something, because it has to stop.
Earlier this week, Zelensky sent a warning message that a no-show by Putin would be a clear sign that Russia was not serious, and has instead called on the US to pressure Russia with strong sanctions as punishment.
Санкції за те, що вони не хочуть, навіть припинення вогню. Це повинен бути найсильніший пакет санкцій. Бо це є воля до закінчення війни, або ні. Тобто це чіткий сигнал, що вони не хочуть і не збираються закінчувати війну. Або навпаки, вони продемонструють, що вони не тільки з ядерною зброєю серйозні, але й без неї на щось спроможні.
And finally, Sudan has entered a new phase of its devastating war, weeks after the army's recapture of Khartoum. Since being driven from the capital, the rival Rapid Support Forces have launched drone strikes and suicide attacks in Port Sudan, causing displacement, power blackouts, and water shortages in the country's main seaport. The attacks signal technological advancements in the RSF's arsenal, leading to fresh accusations from Sudan's army that foreign actors are supporting the paramilitary group. The army's leader, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, made global headlines in March when he told cheering troops in the newly captured Paris, "Khartoum is free. It's over." But speaking to MEELive, Sudanese activist Amin Mekki warned more violence would indeed come, and he urged the outside world to keep eyes on Sudan.
As to the question of how, if the war is over, I think we're still a long way from peace in Sudan. We've been called the world's, forgotten crisis, but I think most Sudanese people like to use the word ignored because it does feel like we're being ignored.